Good afternoon. My name is Nola Kataru, and I just wanted to add my 2 cents for the current shenanigans with Puerto Rico and the Christmas season. I've been playing this game since about 2016. Well, 10, 14, 2016 is when I started. Uh, so I've been here for a couple of Christmas seasons. Unfortunately, I missed the earlier ones because of real life commitments, but I did manage to read Reddit during the times, and I saw uh, how generous wargaming was at the time. The Christmas crates were, or the Santa crates, I should say, were fantastic, and lots of people were posting pictures and threads on Reddit exclaiming amazement at their luck. Um, some of the ships that they got included things like the Belfast, the Missouri, the Kuchesov, as well as other ships in the tier 5 to tier 8 range. Um, I started playing after the Belfast was removed. I believe I was there when Missouri was still in the store, but I'm not too sure because it was been so long. I was there when Musashi was still in the tech tree, and I did want to go for that because it looked like an interesting ship. Unfortunately, it was removed before I was able to accumulate the required free XP. Um, this is my profile, as you can see on the screen. These are some of the ships that I've got. The Bismarck, you should ignore that because this I got from the campaign. Didn't grind my way up to that. Um, the Sims, not the Sims. The Warspite I didn't buy, and the Texas I didn't buy. Those two came from the Warspite came from recruiting. The Texas came from the Texas Twitch thing, I think it was. But every other premium, I'm just double checking here. Every other premium but the Jean Bart, I've bought. The Marblehead L, the Tachibana L, and the Smith I bought because, hey, who doesn't like going down to the short tiers and having a little bit of fun? The Jean Bart I bought with coal. It took me a while to grind that up, but I did buy it. And I had a lot of fun. Let me just sort by, uh, not by tier, sorry, by nation. So it might be a little bit easier for you guys to see. So I haven't, I'm not a freeloader. I've bought ships. I've bought premium time. I've bought doubloons so I could reset ships and stuff like that. Um, I don't claim to be an expert on the level of Flamu, Flambest, I Chase, or any of those guys. Those guys are leagues above me. But I do consider myself to be somebody who has a perspective on this. I'll let Flamu, the aforementioned community contributors, and the Reddit thread speak for themselves on Puerto Rico. But I also wanted to say one thing that I've noticed that nobody else has been saying, and it's that the Cinder crates have been. It feels like they've been getting worse every year. There's threads on Reddit right now where people can post, have been compiling stats on these Santa threads or Santa crates, um, and the rewards this year just seemed abysmal compared to before. Not to mention the fact that, by my own count, they've added an extra 27, I think it was. Let me pull that up. They've added a whole bunch of tier 5 and tier 6 filler ships. Um, I call them filler just because a lot of them are they don't feel like great rewards in my opinion. Some people might like them. For example, the Huang He, I know a bunch of people were excited to get that because of the smoke and the torps. At least one person in my clan did, I believe it was. The Find the list here of ships. Um, yeah, the Nelson and the Hood. Those two are pretty great. They've got unique traits, that people might like. Some of these tier sixes are, in my opinion, pretty good. Worst bite, I have that, like I said, because the rewards. It's got the great guns on it and the pretty decent rudder shift, which is fantastic for some of the scenarios. Um, The Perth has the smoke, which is pretty. The smoke and the firing at its range, I think, is the creeping smoke, is what it's called. The Arizona is one of the better U.S. battleships for some of the missions, the scenarios, and because of the accuracy of the guns and the power. Um, some of these others, the Krasny Krim, some people love because of the meme factor. The Ohotnik because of that, it's got that all those guns on the side. But in my opinion, they're not as good rewards as some that you might see in the tier 7, 8, 9s, and then the removed list, the banned list, in my opinion. Um, so that's the first thing that sprung to mind when I first saw this. I came here and I opened this up, and I thought, okay, that's pretty cool. Look at all these ships that they're offering. But then I remember from last year the fact that you have to get pretty much all of these bottom ships before you can start getting the next tier and the next tier. People reporting that they didn't even see a single kamikaze, a Belfast, a Missouri, a Fujin, a GC until they had gotten pretty much everything else, until they'd spent or bought 50 to 200 crates and gotten all of this. So the tier system is pretty scummy. And people, I'm not going to say people are, oh my god, they're tired of it, but it is something that people keep in mind when they're looking at this. The fact that you have to buy, you're pretty much locked out of these upper tiers until you knock out the lower tiers. And there's a guy on Reddit who posted a thread explaining how he went about getting the Belfast, Missouri. I think it was he also got the Georgia. I'm not sure. I saw it 2 days ago and I didn't pay too much attention. But basically, he bought 200 or sorry $500 worth of crates, I believe it was, and he got pretty much all of these, and then he got some of these, and then he dropped another however much to get the ships that he wanted up here. And there was another guy who explained that he bought crates 20 at a time and used the doubloons to buy the rest of the low tier stuff so that he'd have a chance to get the mid and high. Are some of these ships overpowered? Possibly. Belfast, Kronstadt, Musashi, Benham. Well, maybe not Benham. I haven't actually seen people call it overpowered, but it's possible. Kamikaze, Fujin, GC, especially during that tier 5 ranked, that dominated. Um, the Alaska was available for free XP. I forget if they removed it. Friesland still has people complaining about it, and it still has some issues, in my opinion. Um, but in the mid tier, a lot of these aren't one hit kill buttons, like something like the Fujin, the Belfast, and the Musashi was. So it's a bit weird. Or sorry, the GC. I have the Atlanta myself, and it's very situational. It's not I push a button and I win. You are punished severely if you fuck up in the Atlanta. Um, Not only that, the compensation change um, that happens here. That's another thing that people are looking at and doing the cost analysis, the cost benefit analysis, and they're saying it's not worth it anymore. So, in the past, if you rolled a ship, for example, if you had a Massachusetts and you bought a container, you got another Massachusetts, you'd get doubloons back. That is not the case anymore. Now you just get a shitty super container. And we all know the memes about super containers, and we all see people getting a super container and then shit 50 of the flags for detonations, or 50 of the flags for rams, or 50. It's just it's not worth it. Um, sure, you still get the port slot and the commander with 10 points, but you know who the hell doesn't want doubloons? If you already have all the ships from the list, the container will drop another reward. Great. What's that? Scroll back up to the top. Whoops, sorry. Scroll back up to the top, and this is what you're greeted with. Only 2,000 doubloons, which is this is the mega gift, the biggest there. Sorry, let me just turn this off. This is the biggest one there. You only get 2,000 doubloons. You can get 12,500 coal, which is 30 days, I think it is. No, let me check. 40 days. Okay, it's 10 days if you get all three stacking of coal, but it's quite a lot more if you only get one coal out of the choose your container. 180 days of warships premium account. That's not bad because some of the benefits of premium include the bonus of the XP and the reduction or the bonus of credits, which can help in higher tier games, especially tier 10. If you don't have the perma camo, if you don't have all the flags. Then we just go down to the camos. The New Year's Streamer and the Frosty Fur, these are some very nice camos. Um, I believe the Frosty Fur is something like 200%. I mean, these are some great camos. Only 20 though, that's starting to be, in my opinion, not really worth it. But then you come down here and these are 5 camos only. It's not really, I mean, the math doesn't really add up. I know that it's gambling and somebody has to lose, but one, this is Christmas. These are Christmas containers, and we don't know the drop rates, so we don't know what it has to roll to hit any of these. Um, the special dragon flag or these flags, I don't have too many myself. Uh, you can see. Let me show you. I mean, this is what I got. I just spent a whole bunch of these flags grinding up to the Edinburgh and using it on the Edinburgh to grind out the next tier. I mean, look at me. I'm only at 54k, so I'm a little less than a third of the way there to a Neptune. Um, as you can see, I've got the stupid British camo attached, which is the Union Jack, which is bonus 100 XP. Uh, I've tried to take part in, farm up as many of these things, these camos as I can. I'm not, as you can see, I'm not like Flamu level. I don't have these massive amounts. I mean, that's great if I'm doing, commander grinding. Um, where's that? Yeah, there it is. The Type 3 Halloween, that's always a fan favorite, except for the color. Um, I think somebody said like Type 12, Type something. One of them has like fantastic stats, but I don't have it visible. I don't think I have it because, like I said, I don't have any tier 10s. I haven't done ranked, or the latest ranked, and my previous ranks haven't been going that well. I think I can see it in here. Yeah, these are my shitty stats. It's not the best. Like I said, I'm not Unicum level. I'm just average in my opinion. Ooh, yeah, 55%. A lot of carries on that. Um, achievements? No, that's that shit. Whatever. I mean, you can. Somebody's probably gonna pull it up on from the website, but you know, we've got this premium, these mega bundles these containers, which have only gotten worse and worse. Wargaming still refuses to give us any info on drop rates, any info on mechanics, any info on what happens. The only reason we know that we have to grind, uh, uh, the only reason we know that we have to do the lower stuff before we get to the tier 7 Belfast and stuff like that, is because people have done testing and whales have bought tons of crates, and they've put it onto spreadsheets for the free-to-play players or the people who are still at work or haven't decided to look at. The this Puerto Rico event and the piss poor communication, the stream, the interactions from the community members, community managers, especially that Russian guy who was talking about going into a car park, or a dealership and demanding a Bentley. That was hilarious, by the way, because underneath it is a Volkswagen with just a few bits and bobs added on. Um, this is going down the list of what not to do to talk to your player base, uh, and if something like this happens. Like, they're just going down the list. The stream was a complete disaster with it looked like Conway and Tucky were sitting there, and then just off camera there was a guy with a 12 gauge pointed at them, basically saying, if you guys mess up, if you release any info, you're gone. um, the chat just was out for blood, and it was scrolling pretty fast, as you saw in I Chase's video, I think it is. Yeah, it's sorry, Jingles' video. As you can see, I mean, it's scrolling pretty fast, and I see myself talking a couple times. And I see this one dude who says, "Will you invite a community contributor such as Flambaz, Flamu, or iChase onto stream to ask questions directly? I volunteer if they're busy right now." Now, this was possibly, I mean, if they didn't answer that, that would have been interesting, but not unreasonable. But they answered it, and they basically said, "We don't think that, we think we are answering these questions," but they weren't. They were taking these questions and then turning it around, or using it to insult the player who asked or the player base, because this, these things were a bit ridiculous. And they brought up the video, and they took the video of them going through the directives, and I think it was Flamu, not Flamu, sorry. I think it was not Tucky. Sorry, Conway. I think it was Conway who said, "Hey, maybe I'm gonna see if I can't grind up to Steel." Steel was the last directive, with which had, you know, earned 350,000 or free experience. Let's pull it up right here, because I've got it right here. No, I don't, because I clicked on the wrong button. But you know what I'm saying. The directives were overwhelmingly grindy, and people did the math, and they basically said, "No, we can't do this. We can't do this in this short of a time. We can't do this without, without a ridiculous, here it is, without a ridiculous grind." I mean, look at this, 350,000 of free XP. My best game in this thing, I earned about 20,000, not even, like 15 to 20,000 free XP, because I had stacked every single flag I could and every single camo I could, and I was doing tier 10s. Not tier 10s, so I was doing my tier 9 Jean Bart, and I had the luckiest game in the entire history of World of Warships, pretty much. And I still only got 15 to 20,000 free XP. And I'm supposed to do that. Let's be generous here. Let's say 20,000 free XP. 20,000 free XP. Sorry, doing the wrong way. 350,000 free XP divided by 20,000. 17 and a half games. So that's 18 games. That's assuming I'm Unicum levels. I'm not. That was fluke. So 18 games, and they're 15 minutes each. That's 270 minutes. Oops, nope, sorry. That's 4.5 hours of just sitting there, queuing up in the Jean Bart, doing that over and over and over. Then I have to go and do that in a destroyer. French, Soviet, French, Japanese cruisers. I have to do that in an aircraft carrier. And you're getting people like Flamu, Flambas, who are Unicum levels, super Unicum levels, who do this all the time, who play this game as a job for pretty much one of them, saying, "No, we can't do this. This is impossible." And unfortunately, Wargaming just has their head in the sand, and they refuse to listen. I mean, Suboctavians currently was on the subreddit and basically saying, "Sorry, we'll try and do better." But how many times have we heard that? How many times have we heard, "Sorry, we'll do better. Sorry, we'll do better"? The Benham grind, the Kuchesov grind. I mean, the how many times do they have to say it before it actually sticks? How many times do they think that they can just keep saying it and nothing will happen? I don't know. Maybe they're trying to see if they can set a new record. Who knows? Um, anyway, I ranted and rambled on for too long. Um, personally, if there's a few ships in here that I would happily buy with credits, with doubloons directly or with cash directly, but making me gamble my nuts off in the containers, just no. I honestly, I would love to get more of these flags. Honestly, I would. Like, even if I could like tell them, "Hey, instead of giving me a Sashi, let me get a couple of these flags." Cool. The crates just aren't worth it. I mean, I'd happily buy it for these flags alone, but things that I want, I'd love to get my hands on the Belfast. I'd love to get my hands on the Musashi, or the Georgia, or the shoot, where'd it go? Shoot, I've lost it. I forget what it was. I mean, these are ships that I would happily pay out. Uh, the Massachusetts, maybe. If I could get the Georgia, I might pass on the Massachusetts. Um, but stuff like that, I would love to get just by paying cash. Some of them I've missed. Some of them are still there, but it's just not worth it for that. If there was a system where you rolled it for like if you rolled let's just say if you've rolled the Missouri, if there was a system that says, hey, instead of getting this Missouri, can I get this lower tier ship? Yeah, you can. Or you got a reward of a tier 6 ship, pick from this list. Cool. If there was a way of saying, hey, instead of this tier 6 ship, can I instead get, some crates, some camos, or some of this, or some flags, or doubloons, coal? Yes, that would be a nice change to these crates, as well as publishing the drop rates and the mechanics. That would be something that wargaming could do to help prepare this. Another thing they could do, the snowflake crates. They reduce the reward, which after talking with somebody who does ranked, like every single ranked clan battles and the ranked sprint, I can understand why they did it. However, the super container, the new quotation mark new rewards, just isn't worth it. He was telling me, yeah, okay, I got, I had a whole bunch of these guys, and I had a whole bunch of these tier 10 ships, and now it's not really worth it. Taking it out to knock a snowflake off, I don't want to. I just toss it into co-op, move forward a couple inches, and then just exit, switch to a new ship, just because I can, grind it out super fast without having to worry about winning because it's co-op, and if you lose a co-op, something's wrong. Um, yes, hello, cat. So, like I said, it's just all these little things that keep adding up, uh, that make us not trust wargaming or not be, the biggest fans. NTC, they remove, the original method of NTC was 100% broken. Sorry, Fuzz. Didn't mean to do that. Was 100% broken. You get 15% damage, 15% hull, 15% whatever for grinding this line. Yeah, no matter how many premium modules you give to the person who didn't grind it, it's not going to counteract the fact that your Kremlin has 15% extra hit points, or your Grosser Kurfürst has 15% extra hit points. It's not going to counter the fact that my Montana now has 15% extra damage. And the fact that they have this focus group, these community contributors, a lot of whom have signed NDAs, are in a special Discord, and a lot of them who really want this game to survive, who really want this game to thrive, and they just ignore them. Graf Zeppelin, another example of just wargaming dropping the ball. Submarines, in my opinion, submarines should not be added unless it's for special missions or special scenarios or special like Christmas or April Fool's missions. I don't want to have to say, you know what? I'm not gonna take out my uh, I'm not gonna take out my Alabama today because I know that there's gonna be submarines running around and they'll target me. Or I'm not gonna take out my Jean Bart, or I'm not gonna take out this. I'm gonna instead take out a destroyer. I want to be able to say, hey, I want to take out my destroyer because I want to, not because I have to counter this new thing. AA rework. I personally bought the Atlanta one. Admittedly, yes, to dunk on carrier players, but two, because it was an interesting ship to me, and it was I mean, people call it a gimmick, but it was a different play style. I bought it before the cruiser split. I bought it before the Cleveland. Uh, sorry, before the Cleveland line split off from all this. So it was going heavy, 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 heavy. Pensacola heavy, heavy. Cleveland light, which was weird. Heavy, heavy. Uh, so I was like, ooh, it's another light gunned uh, American ship. That's pretty cool. I like American ships because they generally have average to above average armor plating, and they have decent engines for their cruisers. The Atlanta didn't have the armor plating, which I thought, okay, that'll make me play a bit more cautiously, a bit more defensively, so that when I grind up to, the Des Moines, or when I grind up another cruiser uh, tier, like when I grind up, to the Zhao eventually, maybe, um, or if I grind up the UK line to Minotaur, maybe that'll help me stay focused, stay safe, and be more aware on the map. Because when I first started playing, I had terrible map awareness. But I've watched as many videos as I can on how to be a better player. I've practiced a lot. I've gone into the training room, and I've done scrimmages there against bots with 2 tiers higher with the hardest AI to help me understand. Yes, bots are not going to be the same as going against people in ranked or randoms. I understand. Just saying, given me the choice, I bought that for a multitude of reasons. Unfortunately, oh, wow, it's not even shown here. Whatever. Unfortunately, uh, the the AA nerf basically turned my thing into a. It's basically useless. This captain uh, used to have manual AA rather than that, or sorry, manual AA rather than IFHE, and then these two. Now it's like I'm really considering specking out of these and just going uh, concealment IFHE and radio location, so I can hunt destroyers and mess with cruisers more. Um, the flak upgrade on this thing is just not worth it. Ooh, +2 explosions. Wahoo! They spawn in random locations, so I might as well just roll a fucking d20 and see if that hits a 20, and then maybe I'll hit it. The auxiliary armaments mod 1. Well, yeah, shit, my AA doesn't do anything anymore, so it's not worth it. It's not worth losing the um, it's not worth losing my torpedoes and my main batteries just being blapped just to keep those AA guns alive. It's not worth it anymore. Um, I don't take defensive AA anymore because I might as well just have a dude on deck with a Thompson. I mean, it's just not worth it. Ooh, 300% damage plus 300% damage um for the flak shells. Awesome. They're dodging them anyway. It's not worth it. Uh, I mean, sure, I get unlimited quotation mark of the defensive AA, or not the of the priority sector, but again, it's just it's a trap on the tech tree here. The massive AA fight. You think, oh, massive, cool. It increases the time that the AA sector takes to turn back on or to get reloaded, and it just increases by only a damage. Does not increase the continuous damage of AA mounts. So too many people pick that, and it's just not worth it. Carriers will just bait out your defensive AA and your spam, your massive AA thing, and then they'll just be free to take you out. The Atlanta still doesn't have overlapping AA guns, AA ranges, and they're still doing fuck all damage. I mean, this is the flak. It's doing 1690, but the gun's only doing 193, and that's 1.1 to 5.8 km. That's point blank for a good torpedo run. I mean, look at this. Short range 92 as soon as they get into 2.4 kilometers. They just don't. I mean, I know what the long range says. Ooh, 1.1 to 5. But it doesn't. I watched the numbers and it doesn't come up. This is still messed up. Um, the I only do 3.5% on a ship that was designed to be an anti-aircraft ship. And yeah, later on in the war, they removed these 2 side turrets to add on more anti-aircraft guns, but in this version it doesn't. But even so, it's like, can I get a refund here, Wargaming? No? Alright, go fuck myself then, I guess. It's just all these things that are added together where it's just, it's not worth it. It's not worth spending the money anymore. It's not worth uh, grinding these missions. It's not worth doing anything like this because next year Wargaming will just make it worse. They'll make it worse. They'll make it worse, and we've already seen that with people dropping $200 to $300 or whatever it is on Puerto Rico, buying all the doubloon boosters and then paying the extra to get it. Anyway, I've ranted on for long enough. This is no like Ataru, and this was aimed at Sub Octavian, but then I remember the fact that Sub's got me blocked, so he's not gonna see it anyway. But maybe somebody else will see it, and maybe somebody else will make a better video. Like maybe iChase will see it. Flamu, I don't know. Uh, cheers, guys.